Greetings Raiders, this is Vespa, and welcome to my guide for Delubrum Reginae Savage. This video will be focusing on the Stygimoloch Lord encounter, so let's get started. Defeating this mini-boss is essential, as doing so will remove the Royal Favour buff from the final boss of DRS, the Queen. So, to initially reach Stygimoloch Lord, you will need to use a mini-trap located near the entrance to the Trinity of Eld arena. Once you have been minified, run through the gate in front of the lion statue. Once one person runs through this gate, it will open, allowing everyone to pass through to the encounter. There are 2 traps in the hallway, and always one on the bridge. Let perception players locate these first. A few things to keep in mind is that this is considered a trash boss, just like with Dahu and the Bosch and Phantom encounter. As such, you will not be able to build LB3. There are several ways to tackle this encounter, but I will be going over the strats I have found most common here on the Light Data Center. It is recommended that there are players pre-assigned to use Lost Dispel and Lost Reflect or Light Curtain. Tanks will also need to be pre-assigned to pick up the adds in the second phase. Stygimoloch Lord will start off the encounter with Foe Splitter, a tank buster that cleaves, so everybody should stay away from the main tank. This is followed up by Vicious Swipe, an untelegraphed knockback AoE. It is recommended that you use your knockback immunities here. The boss will then cast Whack, a telegraphed conal AoE on 3 players. 1111 ton swing is a large AoE. Get away from the boss to avoid this. Next we have Rapid Bolts, which will mark 3 players with a lightning AoE. Players should take these away from the group because when they drop off, these AoEs will begin pulsating. Other players should make sure they are not close to these, as these will persist for some time. Before this phase ends, you may want to use Focus Target on the boss to make an upcoming mechanic a little easier. At the start of the second phase, Stygimoloch Lord will return to the middle of the arena and become invulnerable and untargetable, whilst the floor of the arena changes. 2 rings will spawn, which will be referred to as the inner and outer rings, and both will have inner and outer notches. The glowing purple parts of the arena will kill players if they touch them. 4 Stygimoloch Monk adds will spawn into the arena at the north, east, south and west cardinals. We will look at the tank's responsibilities here first. The pre-assigned main tanks will pick up and hold aggro on their designated add. Main tanks should use their ranged abilities here, because if these adds auto-attack you, you will get a ruin stack. You want to kite that add in a way that makes it walk through the purple part of the floor, which will slow them. Always do this in a clockwise direction. If the add gets too close to the middle, or too close to another add, they will gain speed and start murdering the raid. The outer ring will then begin glowing with question marks indicating that traps will be going out. Players can use the cardinal spaces, which will be safe, while the off tanks will use their invulns and sprint through the ring, popping the trap, making the way safe for everyone else to follow through. Off tanks will act as DPS unless the main tank dies, in which case they will use Provoke and pick up the add. For those responsible for using Reflect or Light Curtain, they will stay in the inner ring. Ball of Fire or Fire Orbs will periodically spawn here, and they must be reflected with either Lost Reflect or a Light Curtain. Ball of Earth or Earth Orbs will also spawn in the inner ring. If these enrage, they will cast a massive red-wide AoE and give a stack of ruin. As such, these must be dispelled. Players assigned to reflecting and dispelling must make this their top priority. All DPS will start north and begin burning down the northern add, once the tank has gained enmity on it. You will DPS down the adds one at a time, running as a group to the next ad in an anti-clockwise direction. While this is happening, the boss will occasionally cast Labyrinthe Fate, which will give players either one of two debuffs. Wondrous Fate will knock back the player from the centre, and Sacrifice's Fate will draw in a player to the centre. To resolve this, we use the notches, which are in both the inner and outer rings. If you have Sacrifice's Fate, you use the far notch. If you have Wondrous Fate, you will use the inner notch. Be sure you are in your safe spot by the time the end of the Fateful Words cast goes out, which you can keep track of if you used Focus Target on the boss. With Devastating Bolt, a ring of lightning will go through the middle of both the inner and outer rings. The notches will be your safe spots. Rendering Bolts will cause puddle AoEs under random players, which are easily dodged. This phase ends when all 4 ads are dead, but it should be noted that if the fire and earth orbs spawned before the final ad died, they will still be active and must still be reflected and dispelled. There are some repeating mechanics here, but with a few new ones thrown in too to mix things up. Thunderous Discharge is a raid-wide AoE, mitigate and heal as needed. Crashing Hoof drops a proximity marker AoE on the floor, stay away from this. Once the boss is dead, make sure to grab your rewards. Loot here includes 1 runner's plating body gear, or if you're lucky, an orderly runner's secrets, which is the full body upgrade. With this boss defeated, you will then make your way to the final boss of DRS, the Queen herself. I hope you found this guide useful, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to do so in the comment box below. Thank you for watching and take care.